Hey everyone, Dylan here, and in today's video I want to talk about a top 5 list of my top 5 favorite instruments to listen to. And I have to say this, basically, in my opinion, honestly, no one instrument alone is better than instruments together. They always carry each other and make things sound better, and just so, like, honestly, my answer for like the number, like my favorite instrument to listen to, is a multitude of them together, right? So, but these are, like, you know, my top 5 coherent instruments, like instrumental music and stuff like that. So yeah, so I'll start by saying an honorable mention, which would maybe be like my number 6 if I went past 5, and that is the acoustic guitar. I like the acoustic guitar, but I don't like it enough to put it in my list. It can be nice, but there's just something about it that I like other instruments more. There's just something lacking and left to be desired for some reason, just with me and with just acoustic guitar and all that. So it would be like a number 6 or just an honorable mention. But my actual top 5, here we go. So my number 5 is the saxophone. And, you know, I lean more towards, you know, maybe the tenor saxophone, but I still like the saxophone above that one as well. But just a nice saxophone that's played really well through like smooth jazz or just other things, like I don't know, it can be really, really nice and sound really awesome. I know when I used to make music, I would use, you know, in a jazzy type beat or instrumental, I would probably throw in like some like a saxophone or whatever, and it just sounds nice, and it's just, you know, pretty good. And so people might be like, oh, so you like a saxophone more than guitar? And, you know, honestly, I do. From what I've really, like, making this list and breaking it out, I did have to listen to a lot of different things to make my decision, but I just tend to like the lead instruments like more, and just, I don't know, than just the acoustic guitar. For some reason, they just, I don't know, I like them more. But yeah, tenor saxophones just in general, they sound great when they're played good, as, you know, of course, any instrument. But yeah. But next is my number 4, and it is the flute. Now, there are, of course, many different kinds of flutes, but just flutes in general can sound really good. And I always associate, like, flutes with, like, nature type of music, like, where it's calming and it just makes you think of the nature, like forest and just nature in general. And a nice flute over, like, like an instrumental, you know, can sound really nice. I was trying to decide which one I like better between flute or saxophone, and I lean more towards that. On more things, I like the flute overall better than the saxophone, so that's why I kind of put it above it. But you know, they're around the same level, but just on more things, the flute sounds better to me, and just has its, like, a nice, you know, nature sound depending on it and stuff. So, and you can hear it in different types of music and instrumentals. So the flute is my number 4. Also an instrument that maybe, you know, one day I might play, because, you know, I don't know if it's difficult or not. I don't know, like, but it seems like something that wouldn't be too hard to learn how to play. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't want to be talking ignorant about something I don't know about. But, you know, you never know. Then next, my number 3. My number 3 is the clarinet. Now, you know, before long ago, I didn't even know what a clarinet was, other than you know, Squidward playing a clarinet or whatever. And it's not a good representation of, like, clarinets. But once I did learn what like clarinet was, and I heard it in music, it just sounded great, and I really loved it. And I even used it in a couple of my instrumentals as well. I didn't use it that often, but I used it sometimes and played around with it, and the result I got was really awesome. So just in using it and then just listening to it, like in music, it just sounds good, and I like it more than saxophone and the flute. I don't know, there's just something about it. It just sounds really good. It sounds different, and it just goes nicely with things. I don't know, it just sounds nice. I don't know what else to say about it. But yeah, just the clarinet is my number 3. It just sounds really nice with music. And then we get to my number 2 and my number 1, and this was very hard because I love both of these instruments very much. But my number 2 is the piano. So the piano is very near and dear to my heart. It is a lovely thing. It's the instrument that I played the most. And when you get a really good skilled pianist and you get a nice piece, it just sounds amazing and wonderful. And I really love the piano and so much that you can get out of it. It's just really great. And it was like really hard to decide, like my number 1 was better than that. And so I'll kind of, go on to my number 1 and talk still probably more about number 2 as well. But my number 2 is the piano. My number 1 is the violin. And it's very close with piano. I love both of them. But in terms of what I noticed when I was listening to a bunch of different kinds of music with like these instruments specifically, what I was looking for is what stood out to me more, what I liked listening to more, like what I lean more towards. And I ultimately lean more towards violin stuff than the piano. Now, preferably the best thing is when piano and violin are played together. That's when it's just amazing. I love those two instruments together the best. That's when it's just amazing. And so preferably I'd want them together, that's when they are the best. But I had to pick one, right? And so, just overall, the violin edged out the piano. I just ended up liking it more. It just leads, like it's a lead instrument, but it like leads the music, and it just can get so good, and I just love it. And I guess I could talk about also cellos, but cellos are the deeper end, and I like cellos as well, but overall just, violin, string type instruments like that. They're really, really good and lovely, and I still, like I said, love piano. I love piano a lot. And so it just like very, very barely edged it out to where I could say, I loved violin more than piano, but they're so close, love them better together. But I don't know, and it's just really interesting because like 4 out of the 5 of these are all like, lead type instruments. But like I said, I don't know why, I just like it more. It's more captivating or something, I don't know. But piano could still be amazing. And so that's kind of like why I don't want it to be twisted about it. I love piano, and I still, like I said, I like guitar, and I like other instruments as well. I like the trumpet, I like, different types of horns, I like electric guitar, I like, I like most instruments. It's just, I just like these better, and guitar I don't really like as much, like just the acoustic guitar. So, but yeah, so again, my top 5 list, my number 5 was the saxophone, my number 4 was the flute, my number 3 was the clarinet, number 2 was piano, and number 1 was violin. Just love the violin and piano, and as I said, the best is when the music and instruments are played together. That's when it really truly becomes whole, and it becomes, yin and yang. It just becomes a nice balance. It sounds great, it sounds amazing. So but if I had to just pick just which one I like the most, just out of all, this would be my top 5 list. And believe it or not, this was actually a little more difficult than I thought. I really had to listen to a lot of different pieces of music and figure out what I like the most. And this is kind of my list. So let me know what your favorite instrument is to listen to over, all and whatnot. And yeah, we can talk about it. But yeah, anyways, this has been my top 5 list of my top 5 favorite instruments to listen to. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for listening, and I will see you in the next video.